Scene script. Have you ever wondered how trade routes have shaped the territory and history of India? To begin our journey, let's travel back to the dawn of civilization in India, around 4,000 years ago. Picture a bustling, thriving society, the Indus Valley Civilization, known for its advanced urban planning, standardized brick buildings, and intricate drainage systems. But did you know that this civilization was also a hub of trade? The people of the Indus Valley didn't just trade with neighboring regions, they cast their net wider, establishing maritime trade routes with distant civilizations. Imagine 4,000 years ago, ships loaded with goods sailing from the ports of Lothal or Dholavira, crossing the Arabian Sea and reaching the land of Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. The cargo? A plethora of resources, beads, textiles, pottery, and more, offering a peek into the rich artistic culture of the Indus Valley. And in return, what came back was not just material goods, but also ideas, beliefs, and practices, fostering a cultural exchange that would shape the future of the Indian subcontinent. This trade wasn't merely an economic activity, but a catalyst for cultural and societal development. It brought about advancements in technology, influenced societal norms, and even shaped religious practices. This intermingling of cultures and ideas through trade routes laid the foundation for a diverse and pluralistic society that we recognize as India today. But the Indus Valley civilization wasn't the end of the story. Over the centuries, these original trade routes evolved, expanded, and became more complex, connecting various parts of the Indian subcontinent with each other and with the rest of the world. They played a pivotal role in the rise and fall of empires, the spread of religions, and the evolution of cultures and societies. Thus, these ancient trade routes were the beginning of a complex network that would eventually shape the entire Indian subcontinent. This is just the opening chapter of a vast, intricate narrative of how trade shaped the territory and history of India, a story we will continue to explore in the coming scenes. Scene script. Fast forward a few centuries and we find ourselves at the crossroads of the world, the legendary Silk Road. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes connecting the East and the West, had profound impacts on India. This wasn't just a path for merchants to ply their wares, but a conduit for an unprecedented exchange of cultures, religions, and ideas. One of the most significant impacts of the Silk Road on India was the spread of Buddhism. Monks and scholars from India traveled along this network to China, Central Asia, and beyond, carrying with them the teachings of Buddha. In return, they brought back new philosophies, artistic styles, and scientific knowledge that enriched Indian society. This cultural exchange helped shape India's diverse and inclusive identity that we see today. The Silk Road also positioned India as a central player in the global economy. India was already famous for its spices, textiles, and precious gemstones, but the Silk Road amplified its economic relevance, making it a hub for trade between the East and the West. Indian cities along the Silk Road thrived, becoming centers of wealth, innovation, and cultural diversity. Of course, the exchange wasn't just one-way traffic. As much as India exported goods, it also imported. From China came silk, tea, and porcelain. From the Middle East came horses, dates, and precious oils. And from Europe came gold, silver, and fine wines. This brought about a fascinating mix of goods and cultures that added to the richness of Indian society. The Silk Road was more than a trade route. It was a pathway that connected people, cultures, and economies. It was a conduit for knowledge, religion, and ideas. It was a catalyst for change. It was a symbol of the interconnectedness of our world. The Silk Road not only brought goods to India, but also ideas, firmly establishing India as a vital part of the world's cultural and economic fabric. Trade routes were not just about commerce, they were also gateways for conquest and empire building. The rise of empires in India, notably the Maurya and Gupta empires, is a testament to this reality. These empires didn't just emerge out of a vacuum, they were intricately tied to the control and management of trade routes, which provided a strong foundation for their power and prosperity. The Maurya Empire, founded in the late 4th century BCE, was a formidable force. It was an empire that controlled vast territories, stretching from the northern parts of India to its southern tips. This success was not merely a result of military might, but also a strategic control of trade routes. The Mauryan rulers knew the importance of trade and took active steps to ensure that routes were well maintained and protected. This facilitated the movement of goods, ideas, and people, bolstering the empire's economic and cultural prowess. The Gupta Empire, which rose to power in the late 3rd century CE, also recognized the significance of trade routes. They established territories along these routes, creating a network of connections that extended beyond the Indian subcontinent. This allowed them to tap into the lucrative Silk Road, reaping the benefits of international trade. The Gupta Empire, often referred to as the Golden Age of India, was marked by prosperity, cultural developments, and scientific advancements, much of which was fueled by the wealth generated through trade. But the control of trade routes was more than just about economic prosperity. It had profound political implications. It allowed the empires to exert influence, establish diplomatic relations, and assert their power. It was a tool of empire building, shaping the political landscape of the time. The Maurya and Gupta empires were not just beneficiaries of trade, they were strategic players, manipulating trade routes to carve out their empires. They demonstrated how trade and power were intertwined and how control over the former could significantly bolster the latter. The control of trade routes was a powerful tool, shaping the political landscape and paving the way for the rise of powerful empires. The quest for trade brought new players to the Indian subcontinent, forever changing its destiny. As the allure of Indian spices and silk grew, European powers embarked on perilous voyages to the east. Among the first to arrive were the Portuguese, led by Vasco da Gama in the late 15th century. They established their stronghold in Goa, and their influence spread along the coastal regions, introducing Christianity and forever altering the cultural and religious landscape of the region. In the early 17th century, the Dutch followed suit. They set up the Dutch East India Company, focusing on the trade of textiles, indigo, and saltpeter. The Dutch influence was most prominent in the southern parts of India, particularly in what we now know as Kerala and Tamil Nadu. However, the European power that would leave the most indelible mark on India were the British. The British East India Company, formed in the early 17th century, initially focused on trade, but with time, their ambitions grew. They established administrative and military control, leading to the colonization of India. The British influence extended beyond trade, affecting every aspect of Indian life, from education and law to culture and language. The arrival of these European powers was not just about trade, it was a quest for power and dominance. The establishment of territories under European control marked a significant shift in India's history. The Europeans brought with them new systems of administration, new technologies, and new ideologies. However, the colonization also brought about a period of exploitation. The wealth and resources of India were drained to benefit the colonizers. The Indian subcontinent, once a prosperous trading nation, found itself under the control of foreign powers. The arrival of Europeans marked a turning point in India's history as trade moved from being a source of prosperity to a tool of colonization. This era of history, marked by the arrival of Europeans, is a poignant reminder of how the quest for trade can lead to profound and lasting changes in the destiny of a nation. From ancient trade routes to the establishment of territories, the story of India is a testament to the power of trade. Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've embarked upon today, a journey that began at the dawn of trade in India. We saw how the creation of trade routes and the exchange of goods played a pivotal role in the development of early Indian societies. These trade routes were not just pathways for goods, but also for ideas, beliefs, and cultures, leading to a rich tapestry of diversity that is quintessentially Indian. We then ventured onto the Silk Road, that legendary trade route linking the East with the West. This route brought with it a wave of cultural exchange, transforming India into a melting pot of diverse philosophies and practices. The Silk Road also played a vital role in the rise of empires, as it facilitated the movement of wealth and resources, providing the means for ambitious leaders to establish and expand their territories. The story of India's evolution, however, is not complete without acknowledging the arrival of the Europeans. Their quest for trade and wealth led to the establishment of colonies, drastically altering the political and cultural landscape of India. The influence of European powers, particularly the British, has left an indelible mark on India's territory and identity. To understand India, one must understand its history of trade and how it has shaped its territories. The lines on the map are not mere borders, but a testament to centuries of trade, conquest, and cultural exchange. They are the legacy of a past where trade was not just about commodities, but a way of life that influenced every aspect of society. The story of India's evolution from trade to territory is a fascinating journey, one that continues to shape its destiny even today. As we look to the future, the lessons of the past serve as a reminder of the power of trade and its ability to shape territories, societies, and cultures.